Hello, Skyview Elementary School, and welcome to the first episode of Blinding You with Science. It's so nice to have you to the laboratory. My name is Dr. I am Loopy, and I will be here the next few weeks to guide you through some scientific experiments and concepts to help you with the tax science tests coming up. Those of you who are not taking tax science tests, listen close anyway, because you may accidentally learn something. Ooh. First, let me introduce to you my assistant, Carl. Carl will be helping us with the experiments and lending us his valuable insights. Right, Carl?
Yeah, sure, whatever.
Very good. Let me tell you how this works. Each week, a student emails me an experiment or a science question concept that he would like clarified by me, Dr. I am Loopy. I will read the experiment and do the experiment for you. But I'm not going to give you the answers. No. You have to come up with the answers for yourself. So, if we're ready to go, let's read the first email. Well, it looks like our first email this week is from a young man from Skyview by the name of I Don't Know. And little I asked the question, Dear Dr. Loopy, what would happen if I took an egg and dropped it into a glass of water? Would it sink or would it float? And what would happen if I took that same egg and dropped it into a glass of salt water? Would it sink or would it float? And why? Why? Well, I don't know. That is an excellent question. Eggs. See, because he wanted to know about the egg. Anyway, it was a fine question, and that is going to be the experiment for today. What happens if you drop an egg into a glass of water and into a glass of salt water? Watch closely.
Oh, is it on? Is it on? Hello. While the doctor's setting things up very quickly, I'd like to show you all a short nature film. Thank you.
You weren't supposed to show that, Carl. Very sorry. We weren't supposed to see that film today. It has absolutely nothing to do with the tax and therefore should not have been shown in class. I do apologize. But it did give me time to think of an experiment bigger and better than using an egg dropped in water. What if instead of an egg we used Carl's dog Murphy? We could see if Murphy would float or sink in water. What do you think?
Huh? I just don't think I like that idea very much, Dr. Loopy.
But Carl, we must, for science.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, Carl.
Okay, she needs a bath anyway.
Bring in the dog! First, we fill the tub with water. The next step is to put the dog into the water. Once the dog is in the water, we see that she has sunk to the bottom. Now, we'll add salt to the water. Look, Carl, she floats in salt water. Good dog. Good Murphy. Welcome to the Tax Science Laboratory, where we will now perform the experiment. The first thing we need is, of course, water. Pure tap water. First, we will weigh the water and see how it starts out. It appears that the water starts out at about 10 ounces. Next, we must take an ordinary egg like you would find in the supermarket, and we will drop it into the water. But before we do, what do you think will happen? Will it A, sink? Will it B, float? Or C, will a small chicken pop out of the egg? Did you guess? Here we go. It appears that the egg sinks to the bottom of fresh water. Now we know that the egg sunk, but the question is, why? Now that we've tried it with fresh water, it's time to try it with salt in the water. We are now ready to try the salty water. Notice that the water is murky from the salt. Before we drop the egg in, though, do you want to make your guess? What do you think will happen? Will it A, sink? Will it B, float? Or C, will it make the egg taste terribly salty? Let's find out. Look at that. The egg does, in fact, float. Did you get it right? So what is it that's changed in this experiment? Has the egg changed? Did the water change? Let's weigh it and find out. We take the water and place it on the scale. Remember, it was 10 ounces before. Well, look at that. The water is now 16 ounces. Could adding the salt have affected the weight? Here's another experiment I was working on. Notice how the layers of liquid stay separate. Why is this? What is the name of the concept? I feel bad for you, so I'm going to give you a clue. It begins with the letter D.
I don't have a clue.
That's because you're so dense.
Oh, sorry. Let's speculate one moment, shall we, on why this happened. Was it gravity? Was it magnetism? Was it color? Could it be the weight of the water? It did way more with salt. Could that have something to do with it?
Skyview students, there's a question on the science wall for you. We've given you clues today. It's up to you to come up with the answer. See you next week with another question from Blinding You with Science!
Bye.